Hello, everybody. Happy December 27th. I hope you had a lovely Christmas. It is Friday. We are doing some training. We're going to go overhead pressing today. Very exciting. Events for Arnold's have been released. I have a YouTube video coming out about that in about an hour's time. But I'm happy to leak some things to you guys if you'd like to know and if you want to ask questions. I am just going to set a 10-minute timer and get my upper body mobility going a little bit. And then I am going to kick into some split jerking. You guys could guess why. You're going to be wrong, but you can guess why. I'm going to do some lockouts, some pin presses. And this is session 1 of 2. I'll go this afternoon and do some bodybuilding stuff. My prep starts next week for the Arnolds, and then we are full into force. I have one little issue, my bicep. Not good. I tore it at the Rogue Invitational, and it just hasn't got back to 100% yet. So we're probably at 85% right now. We just need that to improve a little bit, and we should be good to go. But mobility time, ask you guys questions. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to join, and we'll get a good training session in today. Oh, we're joined by new social media manager, Alicia. If you want to say hello.
Hello.
She's going to be reading your guys' questions, and I'm happy to answer whatever you'd like. I find stretching and mobility when it comes to overhead, I said this in my last live when I was training, I really don't pay attention to what I'm doing, how much, just generally getting in end ranges, feeling reasonably well. I'm going to be doing some dipping and driving, so I'll get my knees going as well in a minute. But I find if I get my pecs going, I get my lats going and stretched out, and I'm going to do a little bit of knee flexion work just to make the knees a little bit less sensitive, then we're usually good to go. Do we have many people on saying hello?
We do. We do have a question here from Max Alexander. He's asking, how much does the bicep injury affect your deadlift capabilities?
0. Sometimes it can. But for me, one really successful cue that I've been using for deadlifting is to lengthen my arms as much as possible, squeeze my triceps, and raise my chest. Almost like I'm trying to get my chest as far away from the bar as possible. In squeezing the triceps, I am totally fine, and I feel nothing in the bicep. In fact, my deadlifts have been going extremely well. My back's been in a good spot. I had a really bad session with Philip. We released I Trained with the strongest 19-year-old in the world. He is phenomenal. But that was because 8-hour plane ride, 5-hour car ride, a lot of things contributed to that. My back's been in a really good spot, and I think I'll be able to pull some pretty big numbers next year.
All right, so we have another one here from Jace Loves Strengths.
Jace, I watch Jace's videos. He's I don't know how many subscribers he's got, but he's got I don't know. I don't want to insult, but I think it's less than 1,000, maybe a little bit more. But small channel, he just does like strength content, and I enjoy it. I like watching it.
Awesome. So not only does he love strength, he also loves chess. He's wondering, do you play or enjoy any other nerdy activities? Video games do not count.
I'm going to share an opinion that a lot of people are going to be upset with me for. Men do not play video games. Once you declare yourself a man, video games should be over. Quinn is in the background laughing because he loves video games. Any nerdy stuff? Nerdy stuff. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do I do anything nerdy?
You play that golf or pool game? I can't remember. Solitaire.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I play Spider Solitaire on my phone. I absolutely lap up Spider Solitaire. That's yes for old people, I guess. But I love it. I've gotten arguments with Ashley because I'm playing Spider Solitaire too much. Like when partners are like, you're too distracted on your phone. Some people it's too distracted on social media. I'm distracted by Spider Solitaire. I've also, by the way, been enjoying Bloons Tower Defense a lot. You can get Bloons Tower Defense 6 on your phone with a Netflix subscription. It's weird. I don't know why, but you log in through Netflix, and that game is my childhood. And there's been this one level that's been driving me insane for like 2 weeks. And anyway, it's of course, in the expert category.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
You've never heard of balloons tower defense?
No.
Pop in the chat if you've heard of balloons tower defense. It is phenomenal. And Quinn, you guys have heard of balloons, yeah? No?
Buddy, I play.
Yeah, Quinn's got it. Yeah, Quinn.
And I love how you're like, games are dirty. You're like, yeah, but I play balloon tower defense.
Balloons tower defense. Well, that's not a video. Phone games are different.
No,
Phone games are different.
It's a video game.
Mate, if you're gonna talk, just grab the mic so people can hear you as well.
This guy got here.
Okay.
So Mitch, Jace Love Strength just gifted 5 memberships.
Oh, thank you, mate. Yeah, the membership side on YouTube is all of the educational strength content that isn't going to perform well. You guys know YouTube's a business. You just got to play the game. There's a really funny righteous thing about people with YouTube where they almost feel like you have some weird obligation to put out a certain type of content. But ultimately, like, we have our ethos, strengthen everyone in body and in mind. And then within that, like, it's whatever the algorithm wants. We want to grow the channel and grow the business. And that's the goal, because it ultimately is a business. And there's really no virtue in putting things out that people aren't going to watch. And it's like the best free market of all time. A video does well if people want to watch it. And if people don't want to watch it, then it's not going to do well. And frankly, sometimes the hardcore strongman stuff, people just don't want to watch. Oh, just getting the knees going. My knees are sore. Normal strongman sore.
So we have a question here. It's a super chat. Have you given up on the split jerk? Only do push-up press from now on?
No, we're doing split jerks today. It's just context dependent. If we're doing a heavy axle of any sort or any sort of overhead for maximum, then I will bring it back in. That gives you a pretty strong hint of one of the events at the Arnold. Reached out to Sonny Webster as soon as I saw the events, which came out yesterday. And yeah, I mean, I'll tell you guys. It's a maximum jerk or push press from blocks. Essentially what we did at World's Strongest Man in 2022. So split jerk's coming back in. Now we're doing behind the neck split jerk. I'm going to give that a crack and see how I go. But yeah, it'll be a fun battle, me and Lucas Hatton. I imagine the winner will be 250 kilos plus. And I think I'll be capable of something close to that if I can get my technique right, which everyone talks about my split jerk. It is a split jerk, but it's like the worst split jerk of all time. So if I can get it like halfway there, I think I'll be able to do relatively well. But we're going to start getting stuck into that right now because my 10-minute mobility timer is up. I'm happy if you keep firing away while I warm up.
Okay. So we have a question here from Leonard. When you're about to do a heavy lift, does doubt ever creep in? Like, can I actually do this?
Usually, only before I fail a lift. I'm going to do something fun this year where I'm going to mic myself up for a lot of competitions. And then you guys will hear, because I do speak to myself out loud, you guys will be able to hear my dialogue. And, you know, for a long time, well, relatively in my career, for a long time I did doubt myself. But as the body of evidence grows that you are capable, then I've found myself having less and less doubt over time. And when doubt creeps in, I just do my best to reassure myself of who I believe myself to be. And I believe myself to be one of the strongest people in the world. And if I can have that confidence going into a lift, then usually it's successful. But that state of mind is really, really important because if you are doubting yourself and you have doubt while you're lifting, you're certainly not going to be as powerful as you'd like to be. Sometimes that just uninhibited effort is one of the most important things to lifting big weight. got to work on this back leg being softer. Keep firing away, Lise.
Okay. So we have a question here from Factory Stage. How to brace for overhead press when you have a lot of T-spine arcing. He has poor mobility. He finds it difficult to brace for overhead press.
Repeat that.
So he's wondering how to brace for an overhead press when you have a lot of T-spine arching. He has poor mobility, finds it difficult to brace for overhead press.
I got you. I assume you're talking about something like a log. And on that, it can be really difficult. And you sort of just got to do the best that you can. Naturally, if you've got a barbell or an axle and you're sort of stacked here, you can brace normally and brace down, but as soon as you brace down with a log, it's going to fall off of you. So once it's up here, I like to cue my shoulders coming up and forward, trying to create a bit of space so I can at least breathe. And if I can breathe, even if I'm extended, I can still breathe into my stomach. Yeah, not as much as if I'm down, but I still try and breathe into my stomach. And your glutes aren't necessarily part of your core, but since they stabilize the pelvis, which attaches to the core, I've found it a really successful method to cue any of my drives when I'm extended with a good glute squeeze. Tends to take a lot of pressure off the low back that way. Probably a little bit of a posterior tilt of the pelvis helps take the pressure off the low back. So that would be my best advice, but it is a challenge. I'm practicing, or I'm going to be practicing this split jerk a lot. I'm getting jerk blocks from Rogue next week, and that's going to help tremendously. Because at Worlds in 2022, when we had this, I was push pressing, and I was the only one pressing from in front of my neck. Every other guy was behind their neck, and virtually everyone who did well was split jerking, but I had nowhere to practice that, and I still don't. So I don't like going too heavy on this without something to drop it if it falls behind me and gets a bit out of control. So today, going to work up to somewhere between 140 and 180. Relatively easy weight for me. And then once the jerk blocks come, we'll start pushing into the 200s a little bit more.
All right, we have a super chat here from Jace Love Strength. I suffer from bad shoulders, knees, hips, etc. Pain is no stranger, but recently I feel pain in my palm when benching. Is there a nerve that runs through the palm or wrist I should be weary of?
That's a good question. The hand is honestly so complicated, and it's definitely a specialist question. There are certainly areas where if the nerve gets damaged, you run into particular problems. One of those is a nerve that runs through the thumb here. And if that nerve is severed, they have to cut your thumb off because your thumb just becomes like this dangly thing. Now, all of the nerves run through the carpal tunnel, which is, of course, your wrist here. And that can get really, really tight on some people. So I would look to some wrist mobility drills, some forearm releases, and see if that improves anything with your hand. But it is something that's unfortunately over my head and out of my specialty. Wrist wraps. I lose my stuff so often. Anything else?
Yeah, we have a couple more super chats here. So this one here, on a Colton video, you say that power lifters are stronger than strongmen, but
Yeah.
strongman seems to cover more strength bases. Do you still hold that belief?
Yeah, I do. Powerlifters, their goal is to be strong. Our goal is to be good strongmen. When it comes to just moving absolute weight, which is the expression of strength, powerlifters outdo strongmen. That being said, strongmen cover a wider breadth of athleticism and capability, but powerlifters are still stronger. It's like how fast you can run a yoke. That's not really how strong you are. That's how powerful you are, how agile you are, your foot speed. But I don't think it's a great test of strength per se. Where something like a deadlift, a squat, a bench press, all of those are just pure strength. Let's take what I'm doing right now, for example. A split jerk or a push jerk or a push press can be so heavily influenced by how much you're able to use your legs that it's, again, not the test of strength that you probably hope for it to be. Feels good. I'm learning.
So we have a super chat here when you're ready.
Yep.
So Dalton Mason,
Dalton.
got any New Year's plans? I'm deloading for a 405 bench and a pull-up before 2024 ends at 290 body weight. Do you have any last-minute tips?
First of all, New Year's plans. Not really. I'm not. The culture surrounding New Year's and the celebration and stuff, I've never really got behind. I'm going to start resolutions this year, which is something I haven't done too much in the past. Going to set myself some goals around reading more, walking more, and keeping my car clean. But in terms of the night itself, no. When I'm at home, I like to be at home and hang out with my family and go to bed at a normal hour because January 1st is still a day to get things done for me. In terms of pull-ups and bench press, that was it, yeah, 4 or 5 bench?
405 bench, yeah.
Yeah. You know, the work is done. I would not worry too much about technique at this stage. Maybe one setup thought and one movement thought. My setup thought for bench press, just broad stroke advice, would be to push through your toes and push all of your body weight onto your traps. And then my movement cue would be to pull your chest up to the bar as much as you're thinking about controlling it. Think about rowing it and bringing your sternum up to the bar. But as incredible bencher Josh Baker said, you have no idea what you're doing.
So we have one here from Toby. It says,
Toby
hey,
Lively.
Yes, Toby. It says, hey, Mitch, what is the biggest thing you want out of 2025? Obviously, 2024 was phenomenal, but are there any specific goals you have, strongman or not, for 2025?
I just want to be happy. Sometimes I'm not that happy, and I would like to be happier. Mm-hmm. That's really it for me. Easier said than done, for sure. But I think I need to do a better job of thinking about the things that make me happy and doing those more rather than just sort of doing with the day what I need to do. Because I've got a very privileged life where I can choose what I do more days than not. And I think sometimes I get in a thought pattern that I don't have a choice and I have to do X, Y, or Z to take advantage of a YouTube trend or write a new program or whatever. And I think sometimes in that, it's easy to lose that actually, if I could choose whatever I'd like to do with my day, maybe I'd spend the day with my family or go run errands with my daughter or something like that. So I'd like to keep my life in better perspective. However strongman goes, it's going to go. I love to train. I love to work hard. And I don't need extra motivation for that. What I do need extra motivation for is to find this clip. Because, but that's a genuine answer. You know, I'd like to win a few shows again. If it happens, great. If not, I can still be totally happy. I was actually really, really pleased that after World's Strongest Man this year, losing the title didn't really affect me much at all. I was just as happy after as I was before. I did everything I could. I worked my hardest. I got beat, and that's fine. I imagine I'm going to get beat this year by someone at something. And I think I know that ultimately strongman is a small piece of what I want to accomplish with my life. And I'll try my absolute hardest to win as much as I can and to perform and to set personal bests. But ultimately, that's all an accessory to the things that matter a lot to me. Oh, we're already at 130. Mm-hmm. Okay. Weights on the bar. You knew that?
Pardon?
You knew that?
Yeah.
Are you thinking about time?
I was thinking about time, but I looked at my watch. It is 12:30. I was like, you know what? It was flying by, but
130 kilos on the bar. A little bit more. Too fast. Oh, that was really good. That was so much better. I can get out of rhythm really quickly on split jerks. I find that sometimes, especially with a barbell, I get really anxious to get down and up, where a little bit slower down. That's the way I sink. This is a power bar, so it's not going to be the same as in competition. But I tend to want to heave it a little bit too much, too quickly, where I could take advantage of the whip so much better. Toby Lively is another one of those smaller strongman channels that I watch. He's a client of Law's as well.
So we have one here for you. How is training for the squat challenge going to affect your road to 505 deadlift?
Oh, look. I don't know how much I can say here. What can I say? I can say that a date for a deadlift event was brought to me. It's my daughter's birthday, so I said no. And I think it might go ahead without me. So that is what it is. Maybe I'll try and do something later in the year with that. But the goal for the squat I'm going to try to do that sort of post, probably between World's Strongest Man and Royal Albert Hall. And that one will be a lot of volume, a little bit of fun, just something a little bit different. It's not like I'm going to put a full 20-week prep together for a squat challenge. I'm going to get well conditioned, squat a lot, get my legs strong and conditioned. But I'm not going to dedicate half the year or something towards that, where a max all-time deadlift record, I would certainly give a lot more time to. So I'm going to take it seriously. I don't intend to fail anything. This challenge would be really, really difficult. It'd be fun to knock it out. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why it's a good idea for me. I don't have any roots in the Middle East right now. I don't have any connections out there. And I'd like to, as always, expand my profile and get exposed to new people and different people. I think I could do fairly well at it. And so I think that could bring a lot of people's attention to myself and who I am. And that, of course, helps everything. So, yeah, I look forward to doing it. In a way, I look forward to when I'm done and not sore, which will probably be like a week and a half later. All right, we're going to go, I don't know the exact math, this is going to be 155-ish. I only need to put like 100 kilos on this before the Arnold. No problemo. All right, get down a bit more. Oh, that was better. For me, on this, it's always the, I'm here, bringing it back down behind my neck. I feel like I'm going to crash out. I'm going to see what weight this is. I could definitely go up if I wanted to, but we'll see.
So we have a super chat here from Christy Herbert. Deadlift tip, please. Anytime I go over 170, 180 kilograms, I hitch. However, position off from the floor stays the same, and rack pulls are strong. Do you have any advice?
A lot of people make the mistake thinking that a rack pull will translate to more power above the knee in a full deadlift, but in a rack pull, I would adopt like this type of position, but in a full deadlift, I'm going to be more here. And so you're not in that same position. So you might be strengthening, but it's not strengthening the same thing. When it comes to challenges above the knee, the best technical places to go are if you widen your feet and you point your toes out a little bit. Think about how strong sumo lockouts are. It's going to reduce the moment arm between the bar and your hip, in which case you'll be able to lift more above the knee. The caveat is it makes it harder off of the ground, so you have to balance for yourself what's going to be more useful. But for me, snatch grip deadlift and pause deadlift 1 inch off the ground have been massively useful. It seems like they're helping you off the floor, but it builds that strength up above the knee. For most people, it's a lack of integrity of the back when you get up above the knee. And if you curve yourself over a little bit, it becomes really difficult. So say like Evan Singleton, when he deadlifts, up to a weight, he can absolutely rip it off the floor, and he has so much momentum that just happens and it's easy. But at a certain point, you rip it off the floor, you get a lot of speed, but now you're stuck here. And now you actually have to grind through that, and you're almost hiding that weakness above the knee. So pause deadlift, snatch grip deadlift, give those a crack, widen your feet a bit, point the toes out a touch, and see how that goes for you.
Awesome.
I'm going to see how much this was. Okay, 148. Cool. All right. Let's do 30 pounds would be another 15. Let's do a 160, 162-ish for one set, and we'll call it a day. Behind the neck is a strange thing for me right now. You have no visual on how you're catching the bar. On a split jerk, I like to like watch it up from the front rack, of course. I can't believe no one's asked about the events. If anyone asks, I'll say.
I think I might have one in here. Let me see. Okay. Since you know the events of the Arnold next year, is there anyone that the event suits very well?
I mean, it suits me well. It suits Tom well. But I think that's just because of who we are. There's not much you could do that doesn't suit us well. That being said, there's a couple of events that aren't great for Tom, but Tom's Tom. Not so good for Thor, I don't think. Lucas Hatton is definitely a dark horse. I wouldn't say the events suit him overly well, but he's a good enough strongman, and his raw strength is so good that he can make up some points there. But I think there's deadlift, but I think it suits Mateusz really well. Yeah, honestly, when I look at the set of events, it's sort of the same it's been on quite a number of competitions I've done so far, where there's nothing that I look at that I think I'll be outside the top three. And every one of my competitors has one or two events where they are outside the top three. Say, by the way, they're not confidential, so I can talk about them. Say on the timber carry, we have the timber carry back. And you've got me, Mateusz, and Maxime. It's like three guys who are very, very good at it. Thor had a great result last year, but Mateusz 100%, myself 100%, Max at 100%. It's hard to imagine that he beats any of us, so maybe Thor comes fourth. Tom's never finished it before. If I had to put money on it, I'd say Tom finishes it, but I don't think he would finish it super fast, so maybe Tom comes fifth or so. And that's one of the hardest parts when you're in a stacked lineup is if it's not a weakness, but relatively difficult for you, it becomes really, really hard to gather your points. So, yeah, that's what I'd say. I think me, Tom, Mateusz are probably the, on paper, favorites for this one. All right, last one. This is going to be 162. I'm going to try to move it really snappy. If it's heavy, I'll do a double. Come on, nice and easy. Big split. Oh, one more. My back foot sucked. Better. And next week, I'll do up my shoes. That's an okay spot to be in to start. I would guess, what was that? Yeah, 162. I would guess today I'm probably good for 200, but I just need the proper setup to start pushing things properly. And frankly, the max overhead So I went in front rack at 230 kilos, which is my front rack PB. I think I beat everyone who's not Tom and Lucas Hatton. So just need to practice, get conditioned, and see if we can do something special. Now I'm going to unload this. I'm going to get an incline bench over here. I'm going to do heavy lockouts, just 2 or 3 inches, because as my split jerks go, the likelihood that I have to press out at the end is quite high. So I want to be prepared for that. And to me, if I can get my tricep power up high, then anything like a log, which we have, that should be no problem.
And we have a super chat here from Spencer when you're ready.
What is it?
You ready to go?
Yeah.
Wondering if you ever utilize reverse hypers in your prep training. I've seen great improvement in my explosiveness from these, but don't hear many people doing them. Lift heavy, be kind.
Yeah, I do like reverse hypers. I've been doing them a fair bit, actually. More for like rehab for my back than anything. I don't know if it's done anything for me for my explosiveness, but certainly when it comes to erector strength, I've seen noticeable improvements from an injury risk reduction perspective. I think it's a great machine, or I suppose machine. I'm happy for you to just keep rolling them out.
Awesome.
I can keep answering.
Okay, so Hades is wondering what is going to be different about your 505 kilogram prep next year in comparison to how you've prepared in 2022?
I'm going to be stronger this year, for sure. It's a funny thing because in 2021, I hit 475. In 2022, I was just not capable of the same top end strength. I don't know why. But it was also like my first time competing at a high level at Worlds not long before. So I think that would have contributed to like some extra fatigue. And then I was training for Royal Albert Hall. So that would have contributed a little bit of different stress. And, I don't know. In terms of how prep is going to be different, it's a question for laws. But I think I have all the evidence that I need to believe that I'm capable of it. I might dedicate myself more to it this time than last time, because last time I was new to the scene and I was still trying to prove myself as someone who could get invited to shows, which is crazy to think that was only a year and a half ago, or 2.5 years ago, I should say. So I think now I can give all of my attention to, let's say, the deadlift, and I can solely focus on that and hopefully pull a big number.
So we have a super chat here from John Ackerley. Hey, Mitch, Merry Christmas. Was his daughter's first Christmas. Christmas is the best with kids. My overhead press is holding me back. Do you have any plans for a split jerk strongman program and or tutorial video? Any good video?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not in a position to teach split jerking. I'm so bad at it. But I would definitely be open to working with Sonny to release some sort of weightlifting strongman program to be able to help people, because I think it's such a good tool in strongman to be able to know how to use it. So I'd be open to it. The only reason I haven't done it yet is because I'm not smart when it comes to split jerky. It is the ultimate overhead hack, though. The one thing about it, though, and Law says this all the time, it is absolutely not for everyone. You have to have extremely good leg drive to be able to get any benefit from split jerking. So if you're naturally just a more static presser, it's probably not going to help you. So say like a Eddie Hall or Zadrunas, because I broke the axle press record, which both of them have had in the past. There's some criticism around like, oh, well, you split jerked and they didn't. So it's not the same. But if they could have split jerked well, they would have done the same. But they couldn't because it wouldn't have benefited them because of the coordination, power, speed that's required. So I would say before you try to go into that, evaluate whether you're the type of person who's going to benefit a lot from split jerking in the first place. But I can talk to Sonny. I'm sure we could line it up. There is a YouTube video, me and Sonny. You can just look up Mitchell Hooper, Sonny Webster. At the Arnold last year, we put out a YouTube video together the day after, and we went over split jerky. Feels too low still, or too high.
So we have a super chat here. Been squatting every day for the past 3 weeks and my numbers have increased and technique is dialed. What are some cues I should watch for fatigue?
3 weeks straight and you don't have cues of fatigue yet. You're an animal. Who's this?
This is Ibrahim. Ibrahim?
I don't know who that is. Wow. Cues you look out for. There's 3 signs of chronic fatigue, chronic sympathetic fatigue. One of those is irritability. One of those is changes in appetite. And the last one is changes in sleep patterns. So if you have any of those 3 occurring, that's what you should be looking out for. But honestly, every day for 3 weeks, you're probably playing with fire a little bit. I don't know about if it's a good idea to even continue at that level of frequency, because we've got systemic fatigue, but we also got there's no way you can recover from a hard session every day for 3 weeks. And maybe they're not all hard sessions, but if they're not, then why do them?
So we have a question here from Justin Vaughn. Would you agree that every elite level strongman could become an elite powerlifter, but not every elite powerlifter could become an elite strongman?
I certainly agree with the latter, but not the former. I don't think any elite strongman can become a good powerlifter. Take Mateusz, for example. He is so powerful and so fast, but his deadlift isn't very good. I wouldn't imagine his bench press to be very good. I don't think his squat's very good. So in strongman, you can be incredibly athletic and powerful and not have that top end strength and still do really well. I think there are some people in strongman who, if they went to powerlifting, they would absolutely destroy. Graham Hicks is top of mind for that. Absolutely. Someone like Austin Andrade, who knows what Eddie Hall could have done in powerlifting? That would have been insane. In fact, let's think about it. What could Eddie have done in powerlifting? That would be a good YouTube video, actually. Yeah, jot that down. Eddie Hall in powerlifting, what could he have done? He could have squatted over 1,000 for sure. He could have deadlifted over 1,000. And bench, I didn't see how he couldn't have benched 300 kilos with how he incline benched and whatnot. So you take 300, 455, 455. you're already at over 1,200. That's nearly the best of all time, and that's just stuff that I know that he could have done. But, and not being rude to powerlifters, but why would a strongman ever go to powerlifting? And I know that's not the question at hand, but there's no money in powerlifting. There's a smaller following in powerlifting than in strongman. There's a less established pro circuit in powerlifting than in strongman. It just has no advantages over strongman at the moment, even if you did really love it, which personally, I really don't. And I actually don't know any other pro strongman who loves powerlifting. Sometimes you just put weight on the bar and I don't know how much. 60. Oh, this is about 120. Just for the record on program side, I'm starting my Arnold prep next week. And so this is my last week of quote unquote off season of doing some bodybuilding work, of doing some work that the weight isn't programmed. So when you guys see me sort of just figuring out what weights are and giving it a feel and not really knowing, it's very much a this week thing. And I want to go into next week, week 1 of prep, as fresh as possible. So I won't do anything too difficult. I would love to be able to get this pin press up to maybe 220 today. Let's see how that feels. And maybe work towards a high 200s type of pin press by the time the Arnold comes around. But it might not even be in the program, so who knows.
So we have another super chat here from Jace. He says, Canada has enjoyed much success in strongman, but never a World's Strongest Man winner until you. How much pride, if any, do you take in being the first to win that?
It's actually a funny question because it's a bit of a dichotomy how I'm perceived in Canada. I did all my early strongman in Australia, and then I got invited to World's Strongest Man after I moved back to Canada, but that was only a couple of months apart. So I've never competed in Canada. I don't think I'm owned on the Canadian circuit, really. I don't think many people in the Canadian circuit think of me as Canadian because I didn't come up with them. So there's that side of it. There's the side of it where, as a kid, anyone representing Canada in anything, I got behind so much. I was so excited I'd watch anything, curling at the Olympics or speed skating or figure skating, just cheering for the Canadians. So that makes me really proud. But I also think our country is in a bad place at the moment. And I hope when the inevitable change in leadership comes that it goes in a better direction, because I'm not that proud to be Canadian right now with how the country is. And I think the average Canadian probably feels the same way as me. So I look forward to change. I look forward to being more proud of my country. Now, when I think about guys like JF Caron, like Louis Cyr, like Jimmy Paquette, Maxime Boudreau, all the guys who came before me, it's really humbling to think that I've accomplished something that they hadn't. And that's really cool. Now, I think it's sort of come at the same time when I won World's Strongest Man, as Tristan Hoth came in, as Wes Czerwinski came in, as Max had already been on the podium. But, you know, I think Canada got more established after I won World's Strongest Man. But those two things are totally separate from each other. And I would shut down any notion that I had anything to do with that. I think the current Canadian success in strongman, despite me not coming from Canada, has so much to do with JF Caron and the work that he does. So I think more credit goes to JF than goes to me. But to lead a country in something is pretty special. It's something I don't take lightly. I just hope that that country gets back to what I know we all loved it to be. I love having Rogue stuff in my home gym because I know that it's more secure and stable than the stuff I use at the gym. So I really don't have to be worried about dropping the weight gently or breaking my own equipment or anything like that. Very, very privileged.
So we have one here from Toby. Now that the events have dropped on Instagram, which are you looking forward to the most?
Oh shit, did they drop on Instagram? Damn it. I was trying to be the first one with a video out about it.
according to Toby, they're on IG.
That's going out very soon. Crap. I just want to see what they've put out. I assume they just put out everything. Yeah, god damn it. Oh well, whatever. What was the question?
The question was, now that the events have dropped on Instagram, which are you looking forward to the most?
I think the max overhead is going to be a lot of fun. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun because, sorry, just getting weight here. This is 454. This will be 206. Because me and Lucas split jerking will have such a, it's almost like two competitions in one. It's like the guys who are split jerking, the guys who are push pressing, you bring that together. You see how it goes. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. The one thing is though, we haven't got full rule sets yet. And I hope they don't make the mistake that Worlds did in 2022. Because one thing that is not fair when it comes to a max overhead event is having just pick it up and you have one attempt. Especially because when it comes to something like that, you got to hit it perfectly. And you can miss it and come back 30 seconds later and hit it. So I hope that we have the ability to pick it off the blocks, give it an attempt, drop it if it happens, give it another attempt, and have a proper time limit to that. That being said, I don't know how they'd regulate for height between Thor and Bobby, let's say. So I imagine it will be a one attempt type of thing, or bar can't hit the ground or whatever. So that'll add a bit of variability. But yeah, it'd be awesome to be able to hit something like a 260 like some of these Olympic lifters are doing and show that, you know, we are as good. The thing is, though, it's sort of like CrossFitters. When you put a strongman event in CrossFit, you see how far off they are. When you put an Olympic lift in a strongman event, you're going to see how far off we are. So that's a bit unfortunate. But putting a 500 plus pound overhead lift on the board, on record in competition, that'll be a lot of fun. And I'm very confident that I'll be able to do that. Yeah, I mean, other events like timber carry, I want to break my record from last year, but my record, I want to break the record, existing record, and hit a personal best. Record is Mateusz's. Yeah, I think there's a lot of good events in there. I think it's unique enough without being really weird that, you know, we should be. I don't think anyone could be particularly unhappy with that set of events. All right, 206. I'm gonna do a triple again. Baby.
So we have one here. Yep. What was your marathon time? Do you ever think you'll do one again in the future?
My best time was 3:24, which is good for a non-competitive runner, but does not compare to competitive runners. I will definitely do endurance events in the future. I said on the Shaw podcast at some stage I'm going to do an Ironman. That's on my bucket list. I'd love to document that journey, show everyone going from strongman to Ironman and then coming back. I think that would be a lot of fun. So that's definitely something I'm doing at some stage. When that happens, I don't know. I flip back and forth between strongman's a lot of fun and I could stick here for a long time. And I've already done everything I wanted to do in the sport. So, you know, at what stage am I being selfish, taking this time away from family and doing more than I have to do? But for now, we're here and focused on winning the Arnold. But I'll certainly be back to endurance sports at some stage.
So with your sale going on, which program would you suggest for a CrossFitter moving into more strength-focused workouts? This is from Zachary.
I'd start with just the foundation. I'd start with powerlifting for sure. Powerlifting is going to give you a lot of good information on the foundation of those lifts, because in CrossFit, they get them wrong a lot in terms of the technical execution, because there's a different way to do something efficiently and a different way to do things for maximum weight. And often they try to teach things for maximum weight in the more efficient way, which of course is not going to be the strongest way. So that would be my recommendation for anyone listening. There's programs on sale across the board right now before we drop a whole new set of programs on in the first week of January. So if you're interested, moosecoaching.com, go ahead, check those guys out. This sale, once a new one's come out, then it's very likely that these programs won't be available anymore. And exercise should not be unaffordable. So they're all on a pretty steep discount at the moment. Go ahead, check them out, pick them up. All of them are 12 weeks of training and a lot of education alongside. So I'm working my way through writing all the new educational stuff for the new program. But in each of them, there's anywhere between 10 and 25 pages written on the topic that you bought. So say muscle building or squatting, deadlifting, bench pressing, anything like that. So I'm trying to pack as much as possible into those guys for you. All right, this is going to be 230. This is going to be very heavy. If I could get one good rep, I'd be impressed with myself. That was good. I'm happy with that. All right, now a bit of grip work. And that is the workout for today. I got a couple of cool grip bits of kit that I'd like to show y'all. Is this in camera range, these guys?
It is, yep.
Cool. I'm going to spend all my time over at the cable. So.
Okay, yeah, we'll move it. Yeah, you're good.
Beauty. By the way, this friggin' rack is the absolute, well, not anymore, was the bane of my existence. So you can see, like, my basement ceilings are well high enough to go, no problem. So I ordered this cable from Rogue. And when it came, I'm like, what on earth is this thing? Has anyone ever seen a cable stack that's 9.5 feet tall? And so if you see the black up above it, it's because my 9.5 foot ceilings can't have a piece of drywall between the ceiling and the cable system. So I had to put like a really thin piece of, I don't know what it is. I didn't do it. I'm useless. But we had to put a really thin piece of something here. And yeah, but it's so good, so smooth. But that drives me mad. Oh, sorry, folks. Thank you. All right. Okay, grip stuff. I'll show you guys two of my things today. All right, one is this guy. This is a pretty standard one. So it's got a hole to attach and then grip here and hold. Really good for finger strength. I don't know about you guys, but when I train finger strength, it hurts my hand so much, the little muscles in there. And then this one is a grip strength, but specific to stones. So here, attach this guy on. And then you can do like stone rows, but it's mostly forearm and grip related. And so be able to train stones without having to get super tackied up or dirty or deal with the logistics of a stone. I really, really like that guy. So these two, coupled with some behind the back holds and my time for the timber carry should be proper fast. Interesting fact about when I do that stuff, say the timber carry, for every other guy, I've heard it that like they just can't move that fast, that they feel like the weight kind of holds them down. And I have the opposite problem where if I run too fast, I feel like I'm pulling it out of my own hands. So for me, it's always grip that slows me down. And yeah, I just, when I move with weight, I've never really understood the feeling of like, this is heavy enough to slow me down until it gets to say like very, very heavy yoke. The heaviest yoke I did was before I turned pro in strongman. I did a 630 kilo yoke for 10 meters unbroken. Probably took me like 10 seconds or so. But another year of no bail time at the Arnold. I don't think I'm ever going to see one, unfortunately.
So we have a super chat here from Ben. It says, Merry Christmas, guys. I'm about to start your weight loss program, but I always get unwell at this time of year. Have you got any healthy hacks that might help avoid winter illness?
Be interesting to know, like, what? I assume he's northern hemisphere and getting cold and stuff, eh? You assume so?
Yeah.
Well, anecdotally, some people say vitamin C. That's been debunked. It's a hard one because in one breath, you don't want to get sick ever. In another breath, if you never get sick, you're not going to build an immune system. So the best advice I could give is sleep really well, eat the best you can, and that's it. Sleep is like the best steroid that people don't want to talk about. The more you can sleep, the better off you're going to be. That is unequivocally the most useful thing you're ever going to do for yourself in a lot of ways. So I would say focus a lot on sleep quality, no phone at night, nice cool room. In fact, I have a free recovery score guide on moosecoaching.com. If you do that, it gives you all these check marks. You go get it. It gives you all these checks to hit for high quality sleep. So I definitely recommend checking that guy out. One of my best Christmas presents came from Alicia behind the camera. Her husband got me the best pillow of all time. And I don't know why, Matt, if you're watching, he hasn't given it to me yet because he's just teased me with it. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
It is taking up all the space at the top of our stairs when you walk in the house. So we need to get it over here to you.
And my mom got me. I've got this really funny sleeping habit. When I go to bed, I've got bad tinnitus. And I've had that for as long as I can remember. So I always need something going on in my ears. And I go to bed listening to Howard Stern every night, particularly a guy called Eric the Midget. He cracks me up so much. And my mom got me this thing that's so crazy. It's this little, it's about this long, that thick. And it's connects to your phone, and it's like a little Bluetooth speaker, but it's a speaker in a way that something about the reverberations seem to give off the noise more than just a speaker. And so Ashley can't hear it, but I put it under my pillow and I can hear it through the pillow. What I used to have to do is every night I would sleep with my phone against my face like this. Whoops.
It's a party.
I'd sleep with my phone like this and have the speaker against my ear really quiet. So I'm leveling up my own sleep game.
So now between that and the pillow, you're set.
I should never wake up. I think I'm just going to go straight comatose, which I would love.
So Jace Loves Strength has gifted 5 more memberships.
Jace, you are a legend, mate. Thank you very much for your generosity. Jace, pop in the chat. Let me know if you come to any competitions or anything. I'd love to meet you. Say a proper hello and thank you.
We have a super chat here from Chad. Did you enjoy or care about the Eddie versus Brian arm wrestling event?
Didn't care in the least. I did watch some of the highlights, and I did check who won, but I certainly didn't tune in when it was happening. My interest in arm wrestling, admittedly, in the past 12 months has gone from a -1 to a +1. So I'm getting more interested, but I'm still heavily uninterested. The one thing that was really strange to me, though, is say me and a mate were in a boxing match or arm wrestling or whatever. I don't care how much you're playing it up. If someone called me a bitch 30 times straight to my face, I don't know if I'd be cool with them again. Eddie seemed like he went further than he had to over the arm wrestling. I'm not really sure why. Maybe he watched Devin Lorette, who goes insane on people. But yeah, I thought that was a little bit weird. But ultimately, I didn't care too much. If I can get that strength good, then that 170 stone to shoulder should be great.
So this next question, when did you start lifting and what advice would you give to young lifters looking to become strong one day?
I started lifting when I was 16, which is pretty late in the grand scheme of things compared to a lot of other guys. My advice at first would be to really just focus on enjoying what you're doing. My advice for anyone, no matter how old, is that if you don't love the process more than the outcome, you won't love the outcome enough to stick with it, because it's slow and it's a grind and it hurts and you're not going to hit the numbers you hope to hit as fast as you want to. But if you stick to it for a really long time, eventually you're going to be able to be really proud of what you're able to do. So yeah, I would say love the process, stick with the process. And my number one pet peeve is when young lifters try to manufacture personal bests and world records to say it's a world record under 22, lat pull down with the V attachment, whatever. Nobody cares. Just work hard, enjoy yourself, focus on yourself, and that's it. I think the gym, for me, is the best mental health place in the world. And trying to chase what other people have done and other records and whatnot takes away from that. And I totally understand how you get there, because now that's what I'm doing. But I only started doing that when I sort of had no choice, because I do it as a job and as a profession. But I don't want it to be misconstrued that that's how you should start. If you end up getting there, fine. But my love for the gym has changed dramatically since I started strongman professionally. In fact, when I started supplement, that was the day that my love for the gym just changed forever, because it then became a job and an obligation to justify my decisions rather than something that I'm doing for fun. And I don't regret it, of course, because it's changed my life and it's turned out really well. But there's a part of me that misses having that outlet. hard. And it's so slippery. It's just this smooth piece of metal. Does that see the rack over here?
Yep, it does.
Cool.
So Bill is wondering, do you feel training cardio is necessary for competing in strongman?
Yes, 100%. For a lot of reasons. One, why would you want to be unhealthy? That's probably most important. Two, your capacity to recover goes up tremendously when you are even reasonably aerobically fit to some small degree. You don't need to go for 10K runs, but you should be able to spend 20 minutes walking incline on the treadmill without really feeling much exertion or fatigue. Your systemic inflammation will be lower. Everything is better if you're reasonably aerobically fit. So yes, and my recommendation at an absolute minimum is 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity, high heart rate per week. That's a heart rate, depends on your age, but for the vast majority of people on here, heart rate above 130 or 150 minutes a week. That's like a minimum to be a reasonably healthy person. Whoa! I might have overestimated that. 340, 430. Yeah, it's almost 500 pounds. Oh, too much for me. Damn it. No power.
What the heck?
Shame. Goal, 500 pound behind the back hold. Happy for you to keep rattling them off.
Alrighty. So this super chat from John. Dr. Mike did a video on longevity with Brian Johnson. What are your thoughts on longevity science as strongman as a base program and nutrition for norm IOGs?
Nutrition for what?
Program and nutrition for norm IOGs or normal OGs? Not quite sure on the terminology.
I don't fully understand the question.
So what are your thoughts on longevity science and strongman as a base program and nutrition for normal IOGs?
For something. Okay,
Yeah,
strongman as a program for general health and well-being. Really like it.
I think he might mean normies.
Okay.
That might be why I don't get it.
Yeah, strongman's a great way to program training for the average person. You just can't take it to the extreme that myself and my competitors take it to, but it's fundamental movement patterns of life. So I like that. Nutrition for normal people, yeah, sure. That way you don't put on excess body weight. Yeah, I like it. The thing about Brian Johnson, though, that like my question for him would not be related to longevity at all. It would be, why do you want to live so long? And that's like it's a sad question, sort of. But think about if you live to 150. Every one of your family members that you grew up with, every one of your long-term friends, everyone you knew is dead. I've talked to these people whose friends have died and partners have died and whatever. None of them want to be alive, really. I would way rather a really high-quality life where I die at 80 than a life where I outlive everyone and I'm obsessed with my longevity where I live to 110. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. I own a company called Longevity. Obviously longevity is really important to me. But I think ultimately health focus around creating a health span to match the lifespan should be the objective. And I think that prescription you gave with strongman as a training methodology and nutrition for an ordinary person, I think that's a pretty good recipe.
So this this one here, let's see, is from Julian. He's wondering, what was driving you the most when you first started doing strongman, and what is still driving you to do strongman to this day?
What drove me at the start, sorry, just grabbing weight here again. I really don't know any of the weights I'm using today. Okay, that's 415. That's not bad for me. What drove me to start? Well, I started when I decided to educate myself more on the exercise medicine side than the sport performance side. And I wanted to experience everything I asked of those people. So I did aerobic, I did weight loss, I did strength sports, all just to experience that. So that was my original driver. What's my driver now? That's one that I struggle with a little bit more because everything now is manufactured. I've won World's Strongest Man, I've won the Arnold, I've won the Road, I've won Strongest Man on Earth. There's no title that I go to compete for now that I haven't won. Literally every single show that I've vied for the title, I have won. I haven't won every show, but I've won every title. So now, I love to train. I really like to compete. I hate to lose. Now at every show, I have fans who want to see me win, but most importantly, I have family and friends who take time out of their day, time out of their life to come watch the show, to cheer me on, to watch me on TV, to on and on. And the least I could do to respect their time and their investment in watching me is train as hard as I can, eat as well as I can, compete as hard as I can. And so for me, I'm either all in or all out. So as much as I talk and I'm like, yeah, I have to manufacture the goals. If I'm on the competition floor, it's because I've given 100% in training and I'm going to give 100% in the show. And that's really my motivation now. It's really different, but it seems to be working nonetheless because that's been the case for the better part of a year. And since that became the case, I haven't lost. Jeepers creepers.
So Matt's wondering, in your powerlifting peak program, are there any days where one could incorporate some grip work, or should that wait until after the peaking program is over?
Yeah, I really don't. I don't think grip takes too much out of you. So I have no problem with throwing grip in a few times a week. I've been doing it every day in the off season just to build my capacity. But yeah, no problem throwing grip in. The only reason it's not in there is because everything in there is dedicated towards the particular goal for which the program is designed to achieve. But additional grip training, I'd say up to 3 times a week, no problem.
And Toby is wondering, what's your behind the back hold personal best? I have done 200 kilograms for 30 seconds.
Oh, he has.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good. Well, perspective. I actually don't remember what this is. This is less than 200 kilos, that's for sure. I think this is like 210, and I can only go for like 10 seconds here. So, yeah, I don't know. It sounds like you would beat me at that one. But I get good at things I train really quickly. So if I was diligent towards it, but for grip, I sort of make my way around a lot of different things and get as much stimulus as possible before I have to train for something particular like the frame carry. So, yeah. But it's not a strength of mine. That's why I want to bring it up.
Jacob's wondering, is that stone cable attachment custom, or can you buy that somewhere?
You can buy it somewhere, but I can't tell you where to buy it, unfortunately. Partially because of my arrangement with Rogue. But if I said it, they wouldn't mind. But for my own reasons, I'm just not going to say it.
So any advice for a guy recovering from a torn pec? How much lifting potential has been kept from tearing it? This is Billy who's wondering. It's
so individual. Say someone like Thor hasn't been able to get his overhead pressing strength back. You know, it's It's hard to see, but age plays a factor. How close you are to your genetic potential plays a factor. I would just focus on your recovery process, listen to your people, and just see what you're able to do. There's so many things that depend, how you tore it, where you tore it, how the surgery went, how your recovery from the surgery went, on and on and on and on. That it's really difficult to give a proper answer. I'm happy to round out a couple of questions, and then I'll clean up the gym as I do it. But then I'm going to sign off, eat some food, and get ready for session number 2.
So Kyle is wondering, does Mr. Hooper use block periodization, and do you maintain a certain level of absolute strength year-round, like 80%-ish, and then just peak out a couple times a year, or do you change modalities?
I would use a block periodization of sorts. That being said, most of my blocks are dedicated to a competition. So my next training block will be dedicated to the Arnold and the events that are there. The block directly after will be for World's Strongest Man and the events there. The thing about strongman, though, when it comes to block periodization, is that it's not powerlifting. So it's not like we're training one quality year round. So say it's most likely at the Arnold, I know that we have max deadlift. Most likely at Worlds, there's going to be deadlift for reps. So you're going from max strength to now muscular endurance, or some variance, work capacity, whatever you want to call it. So I would cycle around different modalities in a way, but those are dictated for me by the events in a show. And at my off times a year, that's where it would be more traditional. And so I've spent the last maybe 7 weeks in quote unquote bodybuilding mode, just to partially retain muscle mass while I'm in off season, partially to increase work capacity, but partially to resensitize to heavier strength training when I get back to it, which is going to be in the next little while. Any other super chats?
No, but we've had a couple questions about this. So your advice to address left to right imbalances quickly. So we've had a few pop through like this. This is from Page It.
I would just say focus on unilateral work. You're going to have to do more volume on the weak side than on the strong side. So unilateral work, if you're doing 3 sets on the strong side, do 5 sets on the weak side, and really put a lot of time and attention to bring that up. It's as simple as that. There's no need to overcomplicate it.
Okay. And then this question here from Danny. So I have one of your strongman commercial gym programs whilst managing post-ACL reconstructive surgery. I can do most things apart from the shuttle runs. What would you recommend as a sub for those?
Yeah, for recovering from that injury, the shuttle runs are just building work capacity and repeated sprints. So I'd say repeated sprints on a bike are probably your safest bet. I would do them at a relatively high resistance so that your coordination and turning the bike over doesn't become a problem and you don't accidentally do something to your knee. But assuming that the rest of your rehab is handled by someone else, I would say that repeated bike sprints would be your go-to. Make sure you're doing eccentric hamstring curls or Nordic curls as well. Just trust the process.
Cool. And then this one here. So I was naturally strong in high school and college. I got married and had kids, kept working out at my home gym. I'm 43 now. Do you think at this age I can still gain size and strength?
Yeah, it depends. It really depends on how much size and strength you've gained. If you're really close to your genetic potential, you're past where your peak is going to be. But it sounds like you haven't been super dedicated for a long period of time, meaning that you absolutely can. I would say, up into your 40s and 50s. If you look at my affiliate links on Instagram or my link tree, blokes is who I use. So a man who's in his 40s, I would definitely recommend getting your blood work done. Declining testosterone is going to be the fastest reason that you don't accomplish those goals. And if you get your blood work, even if it's just as a baseline, that's going to be a really good starting point. With blokes right now, they have 50% off all of their labs. They can come to your house. You can go to any lab in the US. So it's pretty easy. It's pretty seamless. That would be a really strong recommendation from me if that's something that's important to you. Cool. Awesome. Any more pertinent ones?
Nothing.
Cool.
Nothing up here right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys, for watching. As per usual, lift heavy, be kind, and we will catch you in the next training session.